On February 13, 2017, the town of Deer Creek witnessed the murder of 2 young children. The incident, which took place in Indiana, USA, was etched in memories through a video recorded by the children's last moments on their phones. The video showed a man following the 2 young girls. While the video wasn't clear enough, it documented the man's physical features and voice. Day of the incident. At 1:30 p.m. on February 13, 2017, 13-year-old Abigail Joyce Williams and 14-year-old Liberty Rose Lynn German were dropped off on County Road 300 North, east of the Hoosier Heartland Highway, by German's older sister, Kelsey German. The girls were walking on the Mountain High Bridge over Deer Creek in a wooded area in the town of Deer Creek, where no other people were present. At 2:07 p.m., German shared a photo of Williams walking on the bridge on social media. The children were never heard from again. At 3:15 p.m., German's father called the police because he couldn't contact the children. The family searched for the girls themselves before calling the police. Authorities initially searched the area for any evidence of foul play. However, the girls' bodies were found the next afternoon, approximately a half-mile east of the abandoned Mountain High Bridge. The bodies were found on the north bank of Deer Creek. Following this incident, police began investigating the incident and searching for a possible suspect. Police initially withheld details about how the girls were killed. Indiana State Police recovered a still image of a man reportedly seen on Mountain High Bridge Road near the scene of the 2 friends' murders as early as February 15, 2017. The image shows a white male walking toward the girls on the railroad bridge, his hands in his pockets and his head bowed. The man in the photo was dubbed Bridge Man. On February 22nd, law enforcement released an audio recording of the suspect's voice, albeit quietly, saying, "Down the hill." At that press conference, authorities identified German's smartphone as the source of the audio and video and hailed him as a hero for being so calm and collected that he secretly recorded the conversation. Police stated that additional evidence had been recovered from the phone, but would not release further details to not jeopardize any future prosecution. The reward in the case has been set at $41,000. On July 17th, police created a complex sketch of the prime suspect in the murders. The sketch appears to be based on eyewitness accounts from a person hiking the Delphi historic trails on the day the girls disappeared. On April 22, 2019, Indiana State Police announced a new direction in the case and released a new sketch of the suspect. They urged the public to look at the sketch, listen to the audio, watch the man walk across the bridge, and send tips to the tip line. Investigators speculated that the suspect might be hiding in plain sight and might be familiar with the Delphi area, potentially living there. In September 2022, after a volunteer case officer discovered the error, investigators reviewed a misfiled tip. Richard Allen's last name had been incorrectly recorded on the tip, which had led to the case being erroneously shelved. The case officer deduced that the years-old tip concerned Richard Allen and brought it to the case's investigator. In the tip, Richard Allen stated in a self-reported statement 3 days after the murders, stating that he was on the trails on the day of the murders and that he saw 3 girls on the trails. On October 26, 2022, Richard Allen was taken into custody and appeared in court on October 28. In October, Indiana State Police announced that Allen had been charged with 2 counts of murder in the case. Allen pleaded not guilty. Time magazine described the arrest as the first major development in a case that has captured national attention for nearly 6 years. The trial, originally scheduled to begin on March 20, 2023, was adjourned for the defense team to review discovery materials. 2 public defenders were appointed to represent Allen. By the way, if you've watched this far and enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe and like. On November 29th, 2022, Judge Francis Gall ordered the declassification of the probable cause affidavit that led to Allen's arrest. According to the redacted document, video footage seized from German's phone showed one of the victims saying "gun" as a man wearing a dark jacket and jeans approached him and ordered them to get down the hill. Investigators believe the man seen in the video is Allen. Investigators found an unused .40 caliber round between the 2 victims near one of the victims. It was later determined that the round came from a gun belonging to Allen. One eyewitness reported seeing a man wearing a blue jacket and jeans, covered in mud and blood, walking away from the bridge. Another eyewitness and a tipster described a car parked oddly and appearing to conceal its license plate. Investigators said the vehicle's description matched a vehicle Allen owned in 2017. According to the probable cause affidavit, Allen was interviewed by police in 2017 and said he had been on the trail for approximately 2 hours that afternoon. The document also states that during a subsequent interview in October 2022, Allen told authorities that he was wearing jeans and a black or blue jacket that day and had gone to the bridge to watch fish. Who is the perpetrator? Richard Matthew Allen grew up in Mexico, Indiana. Allen was a student at North Miami Middle High School in neighboring Denver, where he played football and track until graduating in 1991. Allen attended Ivy Tech Community College, where he studied accounting and served briefly in both the U.S. Army and the National Guard. Allen later married and had a daughter. He worked as a store manager at a Logan Sport Walmart from 2003 to 2013. He then worked at 2 CVS pharmacy stores, one in neighboring Peru and one in Delphi, before earning his pharmacy technician license in February 2018. Public records indicate that Allen moved to Delphi from Mexico in December 2006. Shortly after his arrest, Allen told authorities that he was at his mother's house in Peru on the day of the murders and his wife was at work. Allen estimated he left home around 11:15 a.m. and reached the Monon High Trail about an hour later. Allen stated that he saw 3 girls pass on the trail, but saw no one else. Allen later stated that he looked at his phone to track stock movements while walking along the trail. Shortly after the murders, Allen told his wife that he had been on the trail the day the girls disappeared. Allen's defense attorneys requested that the trial be moved out of Carroll County, citing concerns about jury bias due to the intense media attention and high publicity in the local area. The trial began in Delphi on October 18, 2024. During the hearing, prosecutors stated that both girls' throats were slit. Williams said German had her clothes on, but German was found naked. An unused .40 caliber bullet was found among the bodies and later linked to Allen's gun by a police firearms examiner through the nature and quantity of the marks. Prosecutors said Allen confessed to the murders more than 60 times while incarcerated, confessing to his wife, mother, family members, the prison warden, the psychologist who treated him in prison, other prison staff, and other inmates. The confessions were made in person, by phone, and in writing. Prosecutors told the jury that Allen was the bridge man after showing them a digitally enhanced 43-second version of the cell phone video recorded by German. A state police chief constable who listened to more than 700 of Allen's prison phone calls testified, "The voice of bridge man is Richard Allen." A clinical psychologist with the Indiana Department of Corrections Behavioral Health Department testified that Allen had been diagnosed with a serious mental illness and had a severe disability. He testified that Allen had told him that he actually planned to sexually assault the victims, but when he saw a van nearby, he fled and slit the girls' throats and covered their bodies with sticks. The defense hired a neuropsychologist in Carmel, Indiana, who testified at trial that Allen suffered from fairly severe depression and work-related stress and anxiety. The jury, which was sequestered during the trial, began deliberations on November 7th. On November 11th, 2024, Allen was convicted on all charges. On December 20th, 2024, Judge Gall sentenced Allen to 65 years in prison for the German murder and 65 years for the Williams murder. The sentences will be served consecutively for a total of 130 years in prison. Confession. On April 9th, 2025, a video of the Indiana State Police interrogation of Richard Allen and his jailhouse confession were released to the public. One video shows Allen denying the murders on the day of his arrest. Another video shows 8 phone conversations between Allen, his wife, and his mother, in which Allen is heard confessing to the murders. While this is the first time the recordings have been made public, it was previously heard during Allen's trial for the murders. To honor the girls' memory, Delphi Community Middle School renamed the school's library the Abby and Libby Memorial Library. This is the end of this video, folks. See you in another video. Goodbye.